So what if I told you that the message given to every single prophet in history, we're talking from Adam to Moses, Jesus to Muhammad, wasn't just kind of similar, but literally the exact same thing? It's a pretty bold claim, right? And it all comes down to this one really powerful verse that kind of sets the stage for everything we're about to explore.
So here it is. This is our starting point. The Quran flat out says that this message, it isn't new. But this isn't just some, dry historical fact. It's more like an invitation. An invitation to peel back all the layers of religion that we're used to and find this one timeless truth that connects every single one of us.
Okay, so that leads to the big question, doesn't it? If we could strip away all the cultural stuff, all the history that's been piled on for thousands of years, what would actually be left? What is that one single core message that God has been trying to send us from the very beginning?
To find that core message, we're going to have to do a little bit of detective work. First things first, we need to spot all the details that we usually mistake for religion itself and just set them aside for a minute. Think of it like unwrapping a gift. We're looking for what's inside, not getting distracted by the fancy wrapping paper.
Okay, first up, language. The message can't possibly be tied to just one language. I mean, the prophets spoke the language of their people, right? Jesus wasn't speaking Arabic, Moses wasn't speaking English, so the message itself had to be something deeper, something that could be understood no matter what words you used.
Next, let's talk about the books. The message isn't trapped inside a single holy text. Jesus had the Gospel, Moses had the Torah, you get the idea. You gotta see these books as the containers for the message, but they aren't the message itself. That message existed long before any of them were written down.
And it is definitely not about culture or what people were wearing. I mean, think about it for a second. The prophets lived in totally different times, with completely different customs and clothes. So to focus on, say, a specific style of beard or a type of clothing, well, that's like mistaking the soldier's uniform for the actual mission.
Oh, and this is a big one. The little rituals. We spend so much energy arguing over tiny details, like where exactly you should fold your hands when you pray. But those are just the branches on the tree. They're not the root. And while we're all busy arguing about the leaves, we might just forget about the very thing that gives the tree life in the first place.
All right, so now that we've set aside the wrapping paper and the decorations, what do we actually find at the center of it all? Let's take a look at the principles that are, well, undeniably woven through all of the world's great sacred traditions.
So what are these common threads? Check out this first one. Whether you look at the Quran, the Bible, or the Torah, you see this description of a God who is merciful, compassionate, gracious. But then look at the Buddhist principle. According to the seed that's sown, so is the fruit you reap. It's this perfect balance, isn't it? There's mercy for our past, but there's also accountability for our future. That duality, that's a universal constant.
And building right on top of that, we find another core truth. The idea that all people have inherent dignity and we all come from the same place. The Quran says God has honored the children of Adam. The Bible says we're made in God's image. And Hinduism teaches that the whole world is one family. The message is crystal clear. Everyone has value and we are all connected.
And this value isn't just some nice idea, right? It has real-world consequences. The true test of faith across all of these traditions is how we treat the most vulnerable among us. The command to feed the poor, defend the orphan, protect the stranger. That's not just a friendly suggestion. It's a foundational pillar of divine teaching everywhere you look.
And here's where it all comes together. It's just amazing. Nearly every single major religion and ethical system on Earth, on its own, came up with the exact same moral compass, the Golden Rule. You've heard of it. Whether it's a saying from the Prophet Muhammad or Jesus or Confucius, the principle is identical. It's maybe the simplest and most profound guide to being a good person ever created.
So when you boil it all down, these universal truths are really pointing to an inner change. Sincerity beats hypocrisy, humility beats pride, and serving other people beats selfishness. This isn't just about believing a list of things, it's about becoming a better human being. This is the real path.
But hang on. If the message is so simple and so universal, why is religion so often complicated and, well, divisive? This brings us to a really modern problem. What happens when religion stops being a path to truth and starts being treated like a commercial brand?
Just look at the difference here. It's night and day. When religion is about truth, the focus is on the inside. It's about your connection with God and trying to live out that core message. But when it becomes a brand, everything flips. The focus becomes external. It's about marketing and identity, competing for members, and proving you're in the coolest group. It stops being about your connection to God and starts being about which club you belong to.
Think about it like this. A brand like Coca-Cola would never tell you to go try a Pepsi. No way! But God, in that very first verse we looked at, basically does exactly that. He encourages us to look at the messages other people received because he's confident we'll find the same truth. That kind of openness, that's the sign of truth, not marketing. And yeah, to put it bluntly, here's how our source sees it. For a lot of people today, religion has just become another label, like a fashion brand. It's all about the look, the identity, the group you're in, and that deep, profound inner message just gets completely lost in the noise.
So the big question is, how do we get past all that branding and find that real personal connection for ourselves? Well, the good news is the path isn't actually that complicated. It really just starts with a simple choice, to look for wisdom wherever you can find it.
I just love this story from our source material. The author actually learned a technique to make his Islamic prayer better from a Buddhist monk. And why not? Wisdom about things like focus and mindfulness and connection, that stuff is universal. And the monk's advice was just 3 simple words: go slowly.
And here's what that actually looks like in practice. Instead of just rushing through your prayer, you say one word. You pause. You actually think about what it means. Then you say the next word. You pause again. You think about God. It's such a simple change, but it completely transforms prayer from a mechanical ritual into a real, mindful conversation.
And finally, if you want to build a real relationship with God, the advice is to do something only for Him. Not for show, not to get likes or approval from other people, but a secret act of goodness or devotion that nobody else in the world knows about. That right there is the perfect antidote to religious branding. It's where you find true, honest sincerity. And so, all of this leaves us with one last question to think about. In our own lives, our own spiritual journeys, where is our focus really? Are we totally consumed by the cover of the book, the branding, the rituals, all the cultural details? Or are we genuinely trying to find that timeless, universal message that's waiting for us inside?